don't charge for bots. So let's get started and look at all these cases. I really want to skip my part very quickly. I will quickly introduce the speakers we have today, and I will let more time for them to talk about their own companies and the cases they're going to present. My name is Dmitry Karpov. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a co-founder of ElectroNeek and Chief Innovation Officer. I pre-run all of our community events, and today it's my pleasure to host Rafael Casas, Senior Manager for Sage, who runs Sage Accountants Network. He's our big partner, and for me personally, a big source of industry insights, who helps us to pretty much be a better trusted partner for accounting managed service providers, for accounting firms that are our clients, and engage accounting community to make the product better. Wilton Rogers, CEO of Scale Through Automation, is our partner since fall, I think, this year. One of the fastest growing RPA companies I know. Dave Pala, CEO of Digital Lift Solutions. I think we worked since summer 2020, and Dave brought many interesting things to our company, including his vision for actually how some of the Sage products will increase in value for the customers if we add RPA on top of them to pretty much automatically feed the data with some interesting, what's called more intelligent automation components. Julie Vargas, she's dialing in from, I think, Dubai today. She works at HLB HAMT. It's part of HLB Global, one of our clients and recent partners. So it's great to see HLB pretty much learning very quickly and being able to present the real case in relatively short time frame. So without further ado, let me just highlight a few recent news that, for some of you may be really news if you don't follow our news feed. First of all, in 2021, it's very relevant for accounting. We have been selected for AI CPAs, one of, I think, 4 or 5 technology companies to work in 2021 on increasing our exposure to accounting industry. So essentially AI CPA or CPA.com is our new strategic partner. You will hear more news coming from these partnerships. We recently, yesterday, G2 announced that we are the fastest growing RPA company, according to them. And I think I received many questions today in the comments and my personal email about what's the secret behind this growth. And the secret is that we work mostly with trusted partners like those who present today, and they work with their clients. As you know, our model allows partners not to charge their clients for the software. And because of that, our growth has duplicative momentum, which means more partners we have as clients, more clients they have, and more automation cases per clients they have, greater the ElectroNeek adoption. And for us, that focus on working with managed service providers, system integrators, consulting companies as clients of us really proves to be what is needed to drive the industry change. And the last one, in February, we released more than 100 bots in our public bot library on electroneek.com. One of the most popular parts of that is accounting and finance use cases. So if you work in accounting industry or you have clients in accounting industry, please take a look at these bots that could be easily customized for specific client needs. Okay, so as I mentioned before, that's not show of us, it's show of our partners. So before we get started with bot examples, I would like to ask Rafael Casas to say a few words to open the event.
Hi, Dimitri, how are you? I'm just trying to make sure my camera here is working for us.
Unfortunately,
sure.
Yep, now it works.
Hi, thank you, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, Dimitri. And Sage is really honored to have been partnering with ElectroNeek for the last year. Sage chose to partner with ElectroNeek for a number of reasons. And so some of them that I'll point out here today is really the platform is really focusing on low code and the no code movement. This really enables end users and developers to quickly create and maintain their bots with a lesser amount of effort, with better results and lower costs. The user experience has been second to none when it comes to ElectroNeek, not just from an end user experience, but from a developer standpoint. Sage was also very impressed with the background of the executive team from ElectroNeek. There was a lot of great knowledge from an accounting, tax, and audit perspective, especially Dimitri, yourself coming from UI. And this was really important to build credibility on the knowledge that was already existing within the company that really just helps resonate with the profession and the industry at large. Another area was the price point for creating and deploying bots within ElectroNeek. This is, it's far more affordable than the competition out there, and it makes it much more tangible for accountants and the SMB market to really adopt this platform. And as well as there's a reason why ElectroNeek is now in the top 3 vendors globally, and as well as just won that AICPA-CPA.com Accelerator Award, which congratulations again, that was a huge achievement. And lastly, building out programs and partnering together to build out amazing programs like the 20 for 20 program for the accountants channel within the US, where Sage will actually pay for your electronic bot licensing if you're a member of the program, and as well as offering, even if you're not part of that program, we do have preferred pricing for if you're using any type of Sage product to implement electronic bots. And so we can share that more with you after the session, but it's really been a great honor to see how quickly you all have grown and how much the profession really enjoys working with this platform and it's scaling with it. So it's been an amazing ride, and we're looking forward to many more years together.
Thank you, Rafael. I just wanted to add, if you haven't heard about Sage 20 for 20 program, please take a look. We are very fascinating to engage with program participants, and I think that I can call them those who drive innovation in the accounting space. So if you feel like your company is that company, so take a look at Sage 20 for 20. And as Rafael mentioned, again, for you, it's a chance to pretty much get the ElectroNeek full-scale software without paying for the software itself. Okay, thank you, Rafael. So Wilton, if you don't mind, we are ready to open the microphone for you and to learn what cases you're working on.
All right, can you hear me okay?
Perfectly, thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Rafael, and thank you, Dimitri, for, first of all, having me on here. I'll go into my slides here in a minute, but you touched on the key points about working directly with you as a partner. You allowed us to really be creative right away for our clients and be able to implement right away just because of the tool itself. And I think going into our presentation, I thought about, doing something that we haven't done for our clients already, because there's already stuff that we've done using, of course, ElectroNeek software, and especially in accounting. But we wanted to do something that we hadn't done before, because I was like, okay, you know what, let's do something different. So we had been working on a process, and Rafael and I talked about it, just a basic process on how to download information or clients from one application like QuickBooks and upload it to Sage. And it became a conversation. And because we're able to work with you, we can actually just build it out ourselves, and we built it. And our conversation started about a month and a half ago, probably, I can't remember, about a month and a half ago. But we didn't take it serious until this past weekend. We're like, you know what, let's build this. We already have all the information. Let's just build this and see what we can do, since the webinar is coming up on Thursday. And so we already put hours into it. We already had all the information. All we got to do was build it. And because we already knew how to use the tool and how easy it was, we were able to build it probably in the last 3 days. We started Monday and we finished. So, that's the one we want to share today, because first of all, I want to let people know that when you understand what RPA can do, it doesn't have to be about this process. It can just be about the logic behind it. Like, if there's areas of your business that you feel like you're not getting a lot of things done, or you're doing a lot and not be able to put time into other things, a lot of data processing that you wish that you can get off your plate. This, I think, once you see how you can do it and you find areas that you can automate, it's pretty fast. And the process we thought about doing today is the one I'm going to show you. We're going to show you that we just did it because we said, you know what, it was an idea. Let's build it and see what happens. So, and we did. So I'm going to run through it, and then if there are any questions, then that's good. So let me share my screen. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. So what we did is we decided to build a process that we get all the information from a Sage from a QuickBooks account and upload it into Sage Business Cloud Accounting. And so, we decided to, this is, like I said, about a month and a half ago, we decided we got the idea and the logic on how this is done. And we followed the steps. Like, okay, all you got to do is you log into QuickBooks, you export the data into an Excel spreadsheet, then you verify the data. And the data you verify can be time consuming depending on how many clients they are. And then you figure out what data you need to put into the Sage software. You log into Sage software and upload it into those areas. But that's timely. And we knew that. So we decided, you know what, let's see how much of that we can automate. And because we already had this logic built out, and we knew it worked, something very simple. We went ahead and mapped it out, like what would the logic do when we put a bot to it. And during that, there's a lot of what ifs. So it's like, hey, if the name is spelled wrong, but so it doesn't go through. What if then it goes back to whoever we'll call it a gatekeeper person is, and they'll go back there and fix it and put it in there, and then the bot will take over from there. So we'll let you know what error there are, but the ones that aren't errored, it'll go through. And so these are basically the sub programs here that they're all going through. But if you notice that just from this one right here, let me see. This one right here, all being human actions, we're able to automate pretty much everything. Just basically you activate the bot by an email, a trigger, or a time trigger, or you can do it manually too. So that's all you do. And then you wait for the report. So it was pretty much that easy. And then this is more of the back end. So for all those techies out there, I'm not a techie guy. In fact, I learned this because I followed a lot and learned a lot since, I've been in this since 2017. So just understanding what it does, and then coming from a business background, I can identify things like, what if it can do this? What if it can do that? And so this is the part that we do that creativity. What if this? What if that? This is the back end, what it looks like. So I'm going to show you that. And then for those that aren't techie like myself, after this, I'll show you what it looks like as a user side. So you'll be able to see what it looks like when it logs in and it downloads the information and uploads it to Sage. We'll show you that here in a bit. But this is more of the back end part and how it's built. So let me play this. This bot consists of one main file, which you see here, and 7 subprograms. In this first subprogram, we will create log files and error handling for future use, and another 2 subprograms will be created to make sure this is done. This subprogram will be used to get the date, time details. This subprogram will be used to store error data and log into a file. We are also using subprograms to read the configuration files, which will keep the configuration value in an Excel file. The next subprogram is used to log into QuickBooks and download the exported data into a zip file. And this subprogram is used to map export Excel sheet into Sage. Now, once this program is completed, the subprogram will launch and import the updated Excel template into the Sage account, and 2 other subprograms will be created to complete this task. So that's sort of the back end of what it looks like based on that workflow I showed you earlier of what the brain of it is. After you mapping it out and designing it, getting the idea, designing it, and then building it. So you just saw the build part. So now that's the build part. And then once it's built, we run it, right? So this part right here is that trigger where you saw at the beginning where the human was, whether it's an email trigger or time trigger, you can make it whatever you want to, text trigger, whatever you want to make it, you can make it. But it's that trigger. And then once it's triggered, and this one's going to go into Excel, into QuickBooks, I think we downloaded, we just we had 14 that we downloaded, but it was just we used it on another, not a real application of ours. We had to get another one because we wanted to run this test. So we got some dummy information and put in there, but we know it works because we build the logic. So I think we did like 15 clients on this one. And then we show you how it was, that information was downloaded and then uploaded into Sage. And then once it's in Sage, it goes to the areas it needs to go to because we mapped it out. And then it'll, you'll be able to get an email notification saying it's here it is, here's the Excel spreadsheet, but it will also be already uploaded into Sage. So this one looks like on the front end. So the trigger is basically whatever you want it to be. So once you press that, it basically wakes up the bot. It tells the bot, you got to go to work, it's time to get up. So it logs into QuickBooks. And then once it's in QuickBooks, it knows what it's looking for. So once you put the credentials there, it logs in, and the credentials that you built for the bot to log in. So you log in, you grab that information, and right now it's basically, once it logs in, it's going to those areas that we told it that we mapped out for. This is the information that we need to upload into Sage. So it does that, and it starts exporting all the different clients that we had in here. And then when it's downloaded, it's downloaded into a zip file. And so once it's downloaded into that zip file, we can now grab that file and then log into, which I think I'll log in here in a second. Here it goes, logging into Sage. And then when you log into Sage, right there, we already know the destination is going to. And once this is, let them log in here. And then you just upload the file. Basically, that's what you do. Once this is done, you're going to upload that file and knows exactly where to go upload it. So all the clients are where they need to be, all the information is where it needs to be, everything. So this is what it looks like on the back, on the user end, basically, but a bot doing it. And it just, it's basically loading all the client information into each one of those little categories. And then it's loading them up here and putting them on that business, on the list. So you can see on the right-hand side, that's the timer of the bot running. It tells you what it's doing. Basically, it's importing customer information. Now it imported all the clients. And there it is on the Excel spreadsheet. So now you open up the Excel spreadsheet, you can look at it and save it on your desk, or you have the bot save it on your desk. You can save it, you can have it send in an email. So that's it there. And now basically the bot shuts off, goes back to sleep until it's ready to run again. And then if you look in this is Sage inside already, everything loaded up. The bot's already sleeping, but this, you can go back and look at this and notice that they loaded everything in there for all the clients that we had in there. And there's the Excel spreadsheet as well. So all that information as well, so you can have it handy next to you, so you don't have to log into the application and get it. So it's there for you. So that's that. And that's what we built. And we sort of did that because we wanted to make sure that we can build something just, you can call it off the fly or whatever, but just from an idea. And once we had the idea and knew the logic behind it, we were able to say, okay, let's build it. And because we already knew how to build it using electronic software, we built it in a few days. It wasn't that, we knew how to do it. We already had all the information prior to that. And so, this is important, especially in accounting, because you deal with so much data and numbers. And so once you understand what are those areas that, hey, I need to get this off my load, let me find out what I can do to automate this. You'll be amazed to see how much you can really automate. And that's what we've noticed with our accounting clients, is that once they see what it can do, they're just knocking out 2, 3, 4 different bots immediately, because they see how easy it is to do it, because they've already built the process. We don't change the process. We don't change it. Because we know that you guys, having used the process for years, you don't want to change anything in there. So we just automate everything that we possibly can exactly the way it's been mapped out. And then once it's mapped out, Then we start saying, okay, these are the little areas that you can improve on. But by then you already know it's running. By then you already know how RPA works. So you can also identify those. Like, you know what, you're right. If we did this, we'll be able to do this a lot easier, a lot cleaner, a lot faster on this process. So that's what we noticed in accounting. So, you know, if you want more information about us, you can contact us. Contact Rob Howes directly, probably. That's the fastest way. His information is there. You can go to our website. We're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, and we're on Facebook. And if you want more information, just like hanging out, and there's no selling on this. We have a community where we have use cases, articles, videos, event updates, all kinds of different things. You can engage with all of us, with our developers, with our analysts, with me, with our executive team on there. And there's no selling, period. There's not. We're not going to do it on there. I mean, some of that leads to business, of course, because once they understand what we do, hopefully we can build that trust and honesty and say, okay, we can work with them. So that's basically how you can get a hold of us and keep stay connected with us. So that's
Milton,
pretty much it.
thank you so much for the presentation. And what I like in this bot specifically, we discussed that before, many accounting firms actually charge their clients for the type of work that the bot does for migrating from some accounting software to Sage software. And I know that they charge sometimes like 150 or 100, and that's amazing just for what bot can do in matter of minutes. So
Yeah.
you can see very, very clear economic impact from deploying bot like that. Milton, thank you so much. Julie, are you ready? If you are, the stage is yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay, so let me share my screen too. Okay. So, hello everyone. This is Julie Vargas here, and I'm a senior consultant. And currently, I'm a part of RPA team in HLB HAMT. HLB HAMT is a member firm of HLB International. We were founded in 1969, and we are a global network of advisory and accounting firm. We are ranking 11th across globally. We have 795 offices, and presently we are in 158 countries. In these countries, we are spread across. And specifically in HLB HAMT, we provide below services, that is audit and assurance, accounting and tax services, advisory services, and technology and consulting services. Under technology and consulting services, we have 3 core services. That is digital business solution, IT consulting services, and IT audit services. And we are partnered with Sage and ElectroNeek. Now moving forward to automating the purchase invoice entry process. Why we do that? Because we know the challenges which we face in manual entry. We have what the employee does is employee enter the data manually into Sage X3 system to create invoices. For some companies, invoice generation may take some time, which leads to unpaid invoices or late payment and overall inefficiency. So what we have created is we have created an ElectroNeek bot, which will automatically input the data into the Sage X3 system. So you can see some screenshots here. What we does is the purchase invoice data will be provided by a user and in an Excel format. And what our bot does it recognizes the data, whatever the data is present in the Excel format, it analyzes it. And then the bot will log into the Sage X3 system. Bot will input the data into the relevant Sage X3 system fields. Bot will one by one register all the invoices in the system. Once the purchase invoice is created, bot will update the purchase Excel file with the generated document number. And Once the document number is updated in the Excel file, that's all. These numbers will be beneficial for us to verify whether the documents has been actually created in Sage X3 system or not. And thus the process will be completed. Here, we will be showing you a video representation of bot activities in creating the purchase invoice entry in Sage X3 system. Bot will recognize the Excel data as the data entry number is blank here. Bot will log into the Sage X3 system automatically. It will click on the invoice module and create a new invoice. It will recognize all the fields, like all the input fields like invoice type, supplier, accounting date. It captures the supplier document number from the Excel file and it input the same information here. It does the same with comment also. It clicks automatically on lines tab and take all the information, product related information from Excel, and one by one it is inputting in the line information like quantity, amount, cost center, employee dimension, and it clicks on create and an entry number will be generated. Similarly, it is taking the second row in the Excel file and it is inputting all those data here one by one in the same speed. The second invoice is created. It will create all the 10 invoices. As of now in our demo file, we have 10 invoices. So the 10 invoices are in 10 rows. So each row will be taken one by one in a counter fashion. So let me fast forward it because it is doing the same work for 10 rows. It is creating 10 invoices. And we can see here, see the 9th invoice is created and an entry number is generated. Now what the bot does is it will capture this entry number from here and it will paste it in the Excel file for our future verification purpose. The 10th number is created, invoice is created, and all the entry numbers are pasted here. So the user or the accountant can come here and they can verify it. And thus the process will be completed. I hope you have understood the whole process. Let me know if you have any queries. Thank you.
Julie, thank you so much for a very dynamic presentation. That what are actually the first feedback I gave to your team once I received it. I like the fast forwarding part of that. So I can see that bot definitely saving a ton of time. And I think it all comes to the format of the original file. But what's good with RP, you can transform it in a way that will align with pretty much all the needs for a data upload. Exactly. Julie, thank you so much. Let's see if we have any questions specifically to your case. So please stay with us and we'll kick off the Q&A part after our last presentation. Dave Pala from Digital Leaf, if you're ready, please, the stage is yours. Take the mic.
Thank you, Dimitri. Just checking in if I'm audible loud and clear.
We can hear you perfectly, but we don't see you yet.
I think it's on, but somehow I'm not able to see that. No issues.
Okay.
Let's go ahead with the presentation. So my name is Dave. Hello, everyone. My name is Dave, and I work with Digital Leaf Solutions. To give a quick background about my profile, I have been associated with Sage for almost a decade now, handling multiple projects as a development partner, working on products like Sage 300, Sage 500, X3, etc. So this is obviously before Digital Leaf happened. So when we were working with the organizations implementing ERP, the Sage products, and also the custom solutions on top of Sage products, one of the misconceptions we noticed among the business owners is to think that implementing an ERP is the end of the transformation. But we have a different opinion. We believe that an ERP is the beginning of the transformation. Here's why we think like that. ERP has vast amount of operational and financial data. We need to think of ways to churn this data to bring in insights and drive a few business decisions automatically. Also, it is also estimated that 45% of the tasks performed on any ERP are manual in nature, includes data entry work. I can give some examples for this. We have just seen an example of invoice entry for AP or AR processes, the purchase order and sales orders, and also customer or supplier onboarding. All these are manual tasks which are done by an ERP user, physically entering the data from a PDF document or an email to the system. This is what we believe is a tipping point for an ERP to bring in emerging technologies like robotic process automation to improve operational efficiencies. I'll drive you through, let's look at a real-time use case with which we are working with. I'll drive you through the use case now. So the company in this question is a leading Australian wholesale distribution company, distributing agri, farm, and dairy products among their customers. So what they do is they procure the produce or the raw material from almost 40 different suppliers, process them, and distribute to their customers, who are generally the star hotel chains, resorts, capes. One of the core processes they handle in their operations is the sales quotations, or the sales quote management. Let's look at what happens in sales quote management. The sales team raises an RFQ with their suppliers. In this case, it is 40 suppliers. A typical quotation process involves communicating to the suppliers with the actual customer requirements. What is that customer is asking for? The suppliers respond back with their quotations, typically in an email attached with a PDF document. Most of the time, it is an email with an attachment, PDF document attached, which contains the terms and conditions, the product pricing information, invoicing terms, and expected delivery dates. Now, the customer service representative at the organization, or sometimes the sales team as well, scans through or reads every email received, downloads the quotations, and creates an entry into Sage X3. And this is repeated for all the responses received, which is time consuming and inefficient. I'll drive you through the process in a visual representation. How does a manual process look like? You have the suppliers sending the quotations in emails, or the responses to the quotations. You have the customer service representative or the sales team reading through all the emails, downloading those attachments, logging into X3, and creating an entry into X3. And someone working on X3 can easily recognize that when you're creating a quote in X3 or in any other ERP for that matter, first you create an entry for the quotation number, the customer ID, and RFQ number. You have the details of the tax, shipping details, shipping mode, and the probability of success of the sale. And you have the line tab where you enter the product information, units ordered, and the gross price or the net price. So we have other information as well, other information fields as well, but predominantly these are the details which you enter into any ERP. And imagine you working with 40 suppliers, and all 40 suppliers respond back with their quotations, and you're repeating this process for all the 40 responses. So we have noticed with this customer that they spend on an average 4 to 5 minutes for each entry, and you can calculate how much they spend for all the 40 suppliers, and this is repeated every fortnight or every month. This is where we found an opportunity to automate, and we transformed the entire operations using robotic process automation. Now let's look at the same process using robotic process automation. You still have the suppliers sending the emails with attachments. Instead of a human handling these emails, we have deployed a robot which scans through all the emails, filters the emails which have only the responses with quotation, download the quotations into a specific folder, and creates an entry into the Sage X3. And this is repeated for all the 40 emails. The best part is we have scheduled this robot to run every 3 hours so that you don't have to miss, or you don't have to trigger the robot after seeing 40 emails in the morning. So it is scheduled every three hours. So by the time you are in the office, all the details are already in your system. All you have to do is take the right decision. And if you notice this process, there are no critical decision points that have to be taken where you need a human intervention. So this is a typical data entry work which you are doing for almost 40 suppliers. Something which a human was doing with 4 to 5 minutes for each transaction, the bot is doing in 50 seconds for each entry. This is how we transform the process for them. Now I'll show you a quick video of the bot running on this. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So this is a demo quote which we prepared for this presentation, wherein the quotation has the product lines, the customer information, and the supplier information. And we use document intelligence to capture these details in the production environment with the client to capture details from almost 40 different templates. So you don't have to worry about the change in templates with the different customers. So every time a new template comes in picture, so the robot is trained to capture the required information from the document. So when you run the robot captures the information. It logs into Sage X3, gets into quotation screen, creates a new entry for the quotation, and updates the details like the sales site from which this quotation or this product is being dispatched, then the customer who has requested for this, and the supplier details, and finally the product information. We have 4 products in the quotation, if you noticed, and it creates an entry for all the 4 products along with the unit price and the gross and number of units ordered. So that's your last entry of the product. So that's a quick demo of the robot which we built for sales quotation. Now, we have identified almost 6 focus areas within their business to deploy multiple robots and to control the robots from a centralized control room. And I can give some of the examples of the focus areas, the purchase order operations, the sales order operations, the customer and supplier onboarding, and in APAR or finance and accounting. These are some of the focus areas which we identified for this wholesale distributor. And we are deploying multiple robots and a centralized control room to completely digitize their operations. Our objective is basically to, to create an end-to-end hands-free ERP solution where as much as possible. Thank you. Dimitri, all over to you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everyone who participated today or who stayed with us during the demos. So I think it's the right time to open Q&A. I see many questions being answered in Q&A tab. So feel free to use that. Or I think we have panelists who raised their hand. So Dani, are you still with us? You want to speak? We can give you that the opportunity if you raise your hand again, unless the question has been answered before. So let me take a look at some of the questions we have. Sorry, got it, Dani, no need. What technology did Dave use to scrape the data of the sales quotes? Dave? I assume it was ElectroNeek, but just curious.
Yeah. So it's a combination of ElectroNeek OCR along with, when I said document intelligence, it's basically training different templates to identify certain keywords, the common keywords which you get in the sales quotation, especially from this industry, and bringing a small model integrated with ElectroNeek to identify the template format and specific locations of the template to get the data, and then process the rest of the task in the sales quotation process.
Thank you, Dave. I will add here that our strategy with OCR is pretty much for different use cases, different OCR solutions will be more or less effective. So we allow you pretty much to connect with any OCR solution, whether it's cloud hosted or on-prem, depending on what the client requirements are. But pretty much OCR itself is not kind of part of RPA to us. It complements RPA. So we prefer to integrate rather than to invest in building capabilities that may not work on your specific use cases. Okay, let us know if more questions are coming. So let me maybe go through a few that already have been posted here. So regarding Sage products, what type of Sage products we can work with? Any products, because we use UI level automation. So whatever product has user interface, we can automate in. So we expand in our native integrations with different products, and the Sage is in the roadmap as well. But UI automation is the core. And our competitive advantage here is we really did the browser part well, And as you may notice, most of these processes, they happen inside the browser. So far, we best in Chrome automation. And if you haven't seen that, we recently won our RPA challenge. That was a competition specifically related to hard tasks in the browser, hard tasks for bots. Okay, any comments that our panelists want to make? Again, great, thank you for everyone who presented today. We will be distributing the recording. Just if you want to add something, Julie?
Oh, no, that's all. Thank you.
There was a good question that just came in right now, Dimitri, with regards to for customers that are currently using a large volume of through Blue Prism or Automation Anywhere, what would be the business case for changing the platforms to ElectroNeek? Is there a difference in performance that those platforms do, which ElectroNeek won't? And I think this is also a good question for Wilton, because they completely left Automation Anywhere and Blue Prism and UiPath to go strictly to ElectroNeek. So
let me answer here first, and Wilton, very happy to get your additions to that. So they are enterprise RPA tools: UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, WorkFusion, and others. We don't see ourselves competing with them for centralized processes that happen in high volume and where you need a lot of kind of enterprise grade control over security over a few processes. These tools are really great for automation of processes where you can justify investment of 50 to 100K just for one single process. So when it comes to ElectroNeek, there are two ways. We can do most of the cases that these platforms can do. So if your driver is to decrease the costs of your RPA spending, overall spend less on bots, we don't charge for bot licenses, which means that you can deploy hundreds of bots inside your organization and just pay to the vendor based on the number of developer seats you have or the number of orchestrators you use, but not for the number of automated processes you run concurrently. So because of that, if you say have 20 Blue Prism bots up and running right now, and you can migrate 15 of them to ElectroNeek or more, you will save around 100 to 150 a year. So it's a big driver. What we see more commonly on top of migration is our choice for automation of what's called a long tail of smaller processes. In many companies, and for majority of non-enterprise clients, the processes you want to automate are decentralized. So they're performed here and there, and not necessarily it makes sense to invest 50K in automation of one process, but maybe for 10 or 20 it makes. And because of our tool, its technology focus, its architecture, and our business model, you can automate myriad of these smaller processes in much more affordable way and actually quicker as well. So Wilton, as a practitioner in the field who added powered by ElectroNeek to your logo, what would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. We had a client that we were working with Automation Anywhere at the time. This is before the ElectroNeek days, and they were thinking about the same thing. They knew we were working with ElectroNeek. I was telling them about ElectroNeek, and they listen, we got to try something to make that change over. But we decided not to touch what was already working, was already built. We did another model. We found another area that they, say, hey, you know what? Let's automate this, right? Let's automate this. That way, we can actually see how it works and how it works differently. How you can apply it to what the automation you're doing now, or just work on other projects within that organization first until you understand how to make that switch. Because when you do make that switch, like Dimitri says, the savings is just incredible. It's not even, you can do your own research on that. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's not even close. But you don't want to make that jump right away. Sometimes you're just like, okay, let's understand it right away. But understanding it now is so fast. It's so easy to understand it and start moving things right away. We have clients moving into the third, fourth bots within a month and a half. So it's really easy to understand, but you got to be careful and just saying, hey, you know what? It's very sensitive because you invested into Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, and all that, and you want to pull the plug on them, sometimes because you haven't seen a better opportunity. But that at that moment, it may not be the best route. But once you understand how ElectroNeek works, eventually you'll be able to start replacing a lot for sure. That's how we handled it, and it's been working good.
Thank you, Wilton. Okay, so looks like we ran out of questions, and we are all connected. So feel free to reach out to us, to Sage, to any of the partners presented today. We will share the contact details in the follow-up email. So thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. For those of you who connected from the time zones where it's late, greatly appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to see the whole world here. Thank you so much, and let's stay in touch till the next event.